universal museum. This is the great narrative, but you can keep being a museum of humanity, but giving back, restituting things which have been looted. And I think we have the great opportunity, really openly facing these issues, to find also a new relation with the global south. And this is very important for Europe in general.
You're listening to the Cultural Frontline on the BBC World Service. I'm Tina Dahili, and today we're exploring debates around the restitution of cultural artefacts. I'm joined by Herman Palsinger, a museum leader from Germany, Annelies Kutzer, a curator from South Africa, Alexander Herman, who's the director of the UK-based Institute of Art and Law, US campaigner Deandria Farmer-Paleman, and Nigerian artist Victor Ehikemenu. Thanks to everyone who joined the discussion on Facebook. One of our listeners from Ghana told us, "I vowed not to go to any museum until all the artefacts taken from Africa are returned." Another from the USA said, "The past is the past. I would prefer the focus to be on preventing this behaviour going forward." Herman, the Benin bronzes are a group of several thousand metal plaques and sculptures that decorated the royal palace of the Kingdom of Benin. The Nigerian campaign for their restitution has been one of the most successful. Can you tell us about the work you've done towards repatriating the Benin treasures from your German museums?
This is a long dialogue which we had. We founded in 2010 the Benin Dialogue Group. There have been representatives of the Oba of Benin, of the National Commission of Museum and Monuments to start dialogue. And then, of course, with the growing importance of the topic, it was clear that this has to turn into a restitution. And then last year in April, there was a decision taken by the German government to restitute these objects. And now, since summer, we transferred 514 objects from Benin, and a third of this object we can keep as a long-term loan. I think this is a model case how one can deal with these cases of restitutions and nevertheless being able to show them.
Okay, that's the different museum approaches. I want to explore different community attitudes next. Deandria, you applied for a restraining order to stop the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. from returning its Benin treasures to Nigeria, which was denied. As an African American, some might consider you wanting to keep them in the USA surprising. What was your objection?
We do not object to the return of the Benin bronzes to Nigeria. We filed a lawsuit contesting the illegal transfer because the Smithsonian was recently granted the opportunity to freely transfer relics to Nigeria and the Kingdom of Benin in violation of the law of the United States government. And that's why we filed a lawsuit. A transfer is not allowed outside of the Smithsonian system without payment, or a law would have been needed to allow for the transfer. Victor and Herman actually pointed out critical issues as far as we're concerned. For example, there was a dialogue group that engaged in discussion about the return of the bronzes, but the descendants of people who actually helped to make these relics were never included in the discussion. The Kingdom of Benin actually was paid in Manila's metal currency for our ancestors and used those manillas to melt down and refabricate into the Benin bronzes from the 16th to the 19th century. So our interests should have allowed us a seat at the table during these discussions. Descendants of enslaved Africans provided the materials. Not willingly, but actually that is what happened. The Kingdom of Benin artisans provided the labor to make the bronzes. Now, as far as the lawsuit is concerned, what we were trying to do with the Smithsonian was be considered in this discussion, decision-making around the transfer of the bronzes.
A spokesperson from the Smithsonian Museum in Washington told us ownership of 29 Benin bronzes has been legally transferred from the Smithsonian to the Nigerian Commission for Museums and Monuments. The artefacts are now in Nigeria and owned by the Nigerian government. Victor, clearly it's complicated. As someone with strong views on the return of these objects, what's your response to Deandria's view that some Benin treasures should remain in the USA at the Smithsonian?
I respect Deandria's opinion a lot. We all must have the opportunity to free speech or to air our own ways, but there are some nuances
really
and some history.
We're constantly being told there's a cost of living crisis and people haven't got any money.
It's quite unbelievable. I mean, a couple of things that are happening. We surveyed thousands and thousands of consumers, and about 50% of consumers told us that they plan to spend the same or more than they did last year. When you actually look at Gen Z specifically, 70% said they expect to spend the same or more than last year, this year as well. So a lot of this is sort of this retail renewal, I think, that we are seeing happening. But there is more intentionality. We are seeing consumers vote with their wallets to buy from brands like Gymshark and Lounge, which are two UK-based companies. These independent businesses are really the winners of this Cyber Monday and Black Friday season.
What do you think is going on here? I mean, obviously, a lot of households built up a cushion of savings during the lockdown periods. Is that what the money that's being put to use, do you think?
Some of it is. I think back to the intentionality, what we're seeing from consumers is that they're really voting with their wallets to buy really high-quality products. We've been seeing that they've been waiting for sales to come out from their favorite brands. So instead of buying a dozen or 2 dozen different gifts, they're looking to buy 4 gifts from 4 brands they really love. And they're waiting for Cyber Monday or Black Friday for those discounts to come around.
Really interesting. I mean, you've mentioned a couple of the brands that are doing well there. I mean, is it possible to sort of drill in and say which product categories are doing better than others?
Yeah, apparel for sure is doing really well. Apparel is one of the biggest categories. Cosmetics is doing well. Home furnishings is doing well. Things that people really want as opposed to sort of these commoditized products like detergent or paper towel are doing quite well. But the other thing that we're also seeing is that generally in the UK in particular, 1 in 4 packages that are being purchased are being exported to other countries.
Wow.
So not only are these UK brands doing well domestically, they're doing really well internationally, and we have millions of them on Shopify.
And what are you seeing in terms of transaction sizes? I mean, from what you're saying, the fact that people are sort of spreading their purchasing around, I assume the transaction size might be slightly lower?
Actually, no. Average cart size is higher than it was last year. So notwithstanding, obviously, the global economy and some of the recession talks that we're all hearing about, we are seeing that the consumer is very healthy and they're buying from incredible brands.
And what about the mix between physical and online?
Oh, it's a great question. So actually, interesting here in the UK, but 25% of all e-commerce, of all retail is done online in the UK. That's higher than pretty much every other English-speaking country. But what we are seeing is that what the best brands are doing is they're really thinking about selling everywhere where their consumers are spending time. Online, offline, on social media, anywhere. And I think this idea of omni-channel will become steady state in the future.
So you mentioned the strength of business here in the UK. What about the rest of the world? What are you seeing elsewhere?
Very strong as well. Certainly in the US, Australia, Canada, the core markets where Shopify has merchants, we're seeing very, very strong sale through. In 2021, we saw approximately $6.3 billion go through Shopify in the 4-day weekend, and we think we'll do better than that this year.
Ollie, I've been really quite cheered up by you today. It's nice to have a bit of good news.
Yeah,
good to see you. Thank you. Still to come here on Ian King Live. We're going to have a look at how global markets are doing this Monday morning. Don't go away.
And I'm Sky's correspondent based here in Washington, D.C.
Well, the plan seems to be to head to the police station where the policeman who fired the shots was based.
And everything, you know, his memories is all gone.
In almost every corner, this town has been completely destroyed by the fire. I've witnessed the remarkable passion for politics here, but the anger too.
We have to get Trump out of the White House.
Is this the moment to reform gun laws?
You know, it's easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
I report on the biggest stories from around the world. This is a town that is effectively encircled by the Russians. You say it's all fabrication, what's happening in Bucha?
Destroyed my nation.
we take you to the heart of stories that shape our planet. Yeah, I can hear now quite a few explosions in the distance here in Jerusalem. A very violent series of confrontations here. What do you think of ISIS?
Everybody here knows the truth of ISIS.
Well, the turmoil in China and the prospect of further COVID lockdowns has weighed heavily on the oil price this morning. The price of oil at one point this morning hit its lowest level since the 10th of January. A barrel of Brent crude right now changing hands at $81.14 a barrel. That is shy of 3% lower. On the equity market, stocks in the Asia Pacific region had a disappointing session overnight amid events in China. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong fell by more than 1.5%, while Shanghai was off 0.75%. Elsewhere, there are also declines in Tokyo and in Sydney. Well, in Europe, stocks are also trading to the downside this morning. Here's the current picture. All of the main continental European indices off by between 0.75% and 1%. There are some gainers, though. Talking points include the French supermarket operator Casino. The shares in Paris are up by some 7%. That's after it began selling a stake in a Brazilian cash and carry chain. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in negative territory, off some 36%. Half of that, nearly just about some 17 points, has come from BP and Shell on their own. In percentage terms, though, Persimmon, the house builder, is the biggest faller. The shares are off 3.25%. That is on comment from one of the brokers. There are not too many gainers to mention, but International Airlines Group, the shares there are up on reports that British Airways is set to expand its operations at Gatwick Airport. Outside the FTSE, the rented property specialist Home REIT delivered a bit of a surprise to investors after hours on Friday night. It said it's going to delay publication of its annual reports. The shares there off some 5%, but the annuities provider Just Group is ahead by some 5.5% right now. That is on support from one of the brokers. On the FX markets, well, the dollar's come in for a bit of safe haven buying on events in China. With that context, so sterling actually is done okay there. It's held up. I'm actually quite baffled by that. I say sterling, the dollar's doing well on safe haven buying. Look at that. I mean, the pound is more or less unchanged against it. The euro is up by 0.75% against the greenback. Something to look into. That is rather odd. Anyway, joining me today is the investment director at AJ Bell, Russ Mould. Russ, welcome to you.
Morning, Ian. Thank you.
I mean, we started the programme with this breaking news on Barclays. The statement itself was actually sort of telling people not to panic too much, wasn't it?
Yeah, from Mr. Venkat's point of view, that's probably the best news of all. So obviously, fingers crossed for him, and we wish him well. The statement suggested it had been spotted early. He's been treated very quickly and seems very happy with the level of treatment he's getting. And from the selfish and narrow perspective of share prices, that has obviously offered some reassurance. Shares haven't flickered very much, but yeah, Barclays is a bank. He's only been in the job for a year, and it does seem as if it can't catch a break, does it really? He's done a good job repairing, steadying the ship after, shall we say, some of the turmoil under the Jez Staley era, and so obviously everybody hoping that he comes back for more than one reason.
Absolutely. I mean, he does seem to, as you say, he's only been in the job for a year or so, but I mean, investors do seem to quite like the cut of his jib, don't they?
They do. He seems to have done a good job. He's also got a probably, in fairness, a slightly more helpful environment than Mr. Staley did in some ways, in that interest rates have been going up, net interest margins on the loan book have been increasing. He hasn't been having to deal with the pandemic and an effect upon the bank. But yeah, overall, I think he's been seen to have done a very welcome and steady job so far.
As you say, we wish him well.
Yes.
Now, I mean, the big market story this morning is obviously the oil price. I mean, is this just a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, or is there more to it?
You're not asking me to forecast the oil price. That's an absolute mugs game. I think China and the ongoing lockdown, there was clearly a lot of hope built into the oil market that China would begin to unlock and that the world's second biggest economy would come back, start gobbling up lots of raw materials. That doesn't seem to be happening as quickly as expected. You've also got that story that you just mentioned there about America easing sanctions on Venezuela. And Venezuelan crude's apparently quite sticky and quite nasty, needs a lot of refining, but it's still supply coming into the market. I guess on the other side, you've got fears of a recession and decreasing demand. So there's lots of things weighing against the oil price. On the other side, you've still got Iranian and Russian sanctions. You've still got very low capital investment by the major oil companies, and American stockpiles are now very, very low, and at some stage you'd expect to build those up. So there's a bit of a push and pull there, but at the moment I think China is the major push down.
I mean, this is going to be music to the ears of central bankers, though.
And consumers and corporates, I would think. Yeah, I mean, as we know, taxes, it's a high oil price is effectively a huge tax on corporate margins and indeed on our pocket. So it would be a big break for central bankers in terms of their inflation figures, their inflation calculations, very definitely.
Now, another area that's caught your eye today is tobacco.
Yeah, the European Union is looking at increasing excise duties on regular cigarettes, actually doubling the minimum excise per pack. So it would actually take it above some of the sales prices in Eastern European countries. Also, extra duties on vapes, on heated tobacco. So British American Tobacco and Imperial Brands, both phenomenal performers this year, share price-wise, because in the end, tobacco, you get pretty strong pricing power through the, they want to say, addictive nature of some of the products. They've been fantastic performers, but the shares off a little bit this morning, just on further regulatory pressure on an industry that's already very, very tightly regulated.
Absolutely. I mean, in particular, Germany is a massive market for them. It's one of their biggest worldwide.
It is. I noticed that some of the tobacco trade associations are already pushing back with, well, this will drive things down illicit chains. So all the usual counter arguments will come out, but the EU seems pretty determined.
The EU also looks like they're going to start levying higher taxes on vapes as well.
Yeah, I suppose that's. I mean, we've obviously had pushback in the US on some of these flavoured and heated products, which I know have been in the youth market a source of great regulatory and health concern. That's why Juul's share price collapsed shortly after I think Philip Morris bought a big stake in it. So again, understandable that they're looking at that. Again, the tobacco companies have got that juggling act of keeping the regulator sweet, continuing to try and promote their core products while acknowledging that perhaps at some stage in the future, I mean, the EU wants there to be no tobacco by 2040. If that is successful, then the tobacco companies are going to need to find something else to do. And vape was one big hope, and regulatory pressure on there already.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mentioned persimmon in the market report there. It does feel like a bit of gravity is setting in with some of these house building stocks.
It does. We heard from the gentleman from Zoopla earlier on talking about a much softer market, after the chaos of the Trussonomics month of October and how mortgage prices shot up, mortgage availability shrank. But again, affordability is a key issue. I know it was called Help to Buy, but since that came in October 2013, UK wage growth is up about a third. House prices are up about 70% on average. Yeah. So I know what it was intending to do, but if you boost demand and don't boost supply, affordability is a big issue. Yeah, and so the builders, their share prices have already been terrible, and they're already probably pricing in a 20-30% drop in house prices. You can argue a lot of the bad news is in the share price, but there's no real positive catalyst for them out there right now, unless, of course, the Bank of England starts turning turtle and gets the chance it feels to start cutting interest rates.
Absolutely. Neil Collins, one of our regular newspaper reviewers, he always calls it Help to Buy house builders' yachts.
Yes.
Russ, good to see you this morning. Thank you. Still to come here on Ian King Live. Still a girl's best friend. Why diamonds never go out of
No further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable and trustworthy.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Body is your ma. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there. This is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Just a smile. Hallelujah. Let me hear you sing.
Okay, let me say once again, massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, and welcome to Starr Radio UK, the Monday edition of the morning show. Today is the 28th day of November, the year 2022. The time now 10:43 from the House of London. Just bear with me. Some remnants of the, you know what, it's still around, but hey, time to get rid of all that. But let me welcome you all to the massive and wonderful program on Starr Radio UK, the morning show. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning
Well, let's say good morning to my team this morning, Miss Olayomi HRH Linda Pallien, and to my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. And to the one and only Mr. Frank Davis, all the way in Ghana as well. Massive good morning to you. Anthony Adedeji, massive good morning. Aziz, good morning. Abiosei, Rosita, good morning to you all, Americans. Just bear with me, Still recuperating, you know.
All right, TNS, let me hear you sing.
To Amaya Jergini, good morning to you. Bishop Addition, good morning. And a special good morning also goes to my own princess, Donna Hammond, my granddaughter, you know. This morning, before I came on there, she was holding me up, you know, having a chat with me, speaking all those things that she usually speaks, that some of them that I don't really understand. She's just two, you know. She's a brilliant girl. So let me say good morning to you and to Pat, Patricia Halali Hammond, Good morning to you all and to the family back home. But my greetings also goes to Miss Gold all the way in the UAE and all of my wonderful listeners in the UAE as well. Those of you on the African continent, especially Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, South Africa. Eben, good morning to you and Chantel. But once again, welcome.
Even though the day belongs.
But do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Now, if it's the first time of tuning in to listen to us on the program, that's how the program goes. I'm going to bring you on the Monday. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast, policy, then the travel update as well. Move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then after that, I'll bring you Mr. Olayomi HRH with updates from Nigeria. We'll continue from there to look at some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe. Let's say good morning to Miss Edith Morrison. I hope you are doing very well and the family as well. Regards to each and every one of them. KB Bossman, good morning to you. Nikki, hey, how are you doing? That's BB Clement. Massive good morning to you all. Massive good morning to you all, you wonderful people who join us each day. Okay, then after that, after the updates from Nigeria, we'll have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. Well, today Ghana will be playing. But at 12 o'clock, or just a few minutes after 12, we'll bring the program to a close so that we can all get ourselves ready to go to the stadium, right? We're flying all the way to Qatar to bring you a live coverage about that. You know what? To have a live view of it. But wherever it is and whoever you are listening to us or wherever you're watching us from, I salute you and I say welcome. Playing in the background, smile. Yes, the odds might be against you. Yes, things might not be going the way that you want them to go. But hey, be rest assured of one thing. With God in the boat, you got to smile at the storm. So far so good. God has been good unto us. We are on the 28th day of the month of November, and the quote for the day says, "It is easy to spend the most time on things that matter least. Make time for the most important things in life. That is people." So make time. All right then. Today, mist and fog in places to start this afternoon, gradually lifting to a mixture of patchy cloud and sunny spells. The chance of the odd light shower drifting in from the west as well. Tonight we'll see any showers and then it will become mainly clear. Overnight, mist and fog are likely to develop and may be quite dense in places. Top temperature is going to be 11 degrees, the lowest is going to be 4 degrees, UV level, low pollution, low sunset, 15:57, and sunrise for tomorrow morning, 07:39 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today, Monday, the 28th day of November for London and the cities of England. Let me say good morning to my brother, Felix all the way in Aberdeen. I hope you are doing very, very well. Okay, we take a quick break and we bring you the travel update. So wherever you are, don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio Travel Update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:50. But hey, let's do it. Now, on the underground this morning, Bakerloo Line, District Line, Hammersmith and City Lines, Jubilee Line, and Metropolitan Line have all got minor delays. That aside, all the others, good service. So check before you embark on your journey. Now, on the other side, DLR, London Tram Link, and London Overground has also got good service there. Now let's move on straight to the major roads in London. A4, Central London Red Roads, North Circular A406 have all got closure. That aside, all the others, no exceptional delays. And then I can bring you the river bus. On the river bus this one, apart from the Woolwich Ferry that's got special service, all the others have also got good service. The landing cable car has got planned closures today, so please check before if you want to embark or you are planning to use that today. There are planned closures there. Now moving on to the final segment of the travel updates, that is the National Rail. Avanti West Coast have got reduced timetable, and then cross country reduced timetable there as well, and therefore that means that it affects your travels. Now East Midlands Railway minor delays, and then Great Western Railway minor delays there as well. How trains minor delays, London North Eastern Railway minor delays, London Overground minor delays, Lumo minor delays there as well. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the road. Northern Rail has also got disruption between Carlisle and Settle Hexham. Scott Rail has got minor delays. Southwestern Railway minor delays there as well. Southeastern amended off peak timetable on some other routes. And then First Transparent Express has got amended timetable. That aside, all the others have got good service there. So on that note, as I do say it all the time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. Let's go global trotting. Let me bring you some of the stories making the rounds this morning, as I have said. Yes. So this morning, from Nigerian front, Adeleke appoints SSG chief press secretary, and then INEC office in Ebonyi has been burned down. Several PVCs destroyed. So how is it going to be impacting the elections that's supposed to be taking place less than about 80 days. Yes, And federal government suspend resumption date of Abuja Kaduna train. And then Nigeria knock Aisha Buhari DSS over Aminu Adamu's arrest. There are some stories making the run. Atiku Okowa campaign, Kwara rally, signposts for victory, and that's what they are saying. Serap has sued Buhari's government over illegal pipelines. Oil pertaining to oil thefts. And then $30 billion PDP governorship candidate woos investors. In 2023 general election, IGP issues fresh orders to please commissioners. I'll be telling you more about that once we come on with updates from Nigeria. And then some other story that I looked at and I was interested. Tinubu will make IPOB and IPOB ESN to drop their rubbish. That's what they are saying. Adamu Gaba is saying there. Wow. Have they had an maybe a one-on-one with them, a peace talk with them? Have they smoked the peace pipe or anything of the sort for him to come out to say that they are rubbish? You know, at times we say some of these things and it infuriates the people, and then they will act, rather worse than even what they were embarking on. But well, there are some more stories making the rounds in Nigeria. Somalia, 4 dead in a siege of a hotel attack by Al-Shabaab once again. Wow. And then just moving on, Nigeria kicks off UN campaign against gender-based violence. And the world's longest serving Theodora Obiang wins 6th term in Equatorial Guinea. Interesting. Well, in other parts of the world as well, Norway appeal court dismisses appeal against Ghana in Oslo Chancery Building case. Well. So they happen to keep their Chancery Building there as well. But today, Ghana will be playing. We country Ghana will be playing South Korea. What do you think? Last week they played. Portugal and lost 3-2. But today they think that they'll be playing South Korea, and they are looking at it that they're going to be winning it. How is it going to pan out? Well, we're looking at it very, very closely. Now, we have enough gold to exchange for oil. Deputy Energy Minister. Now, we are talking about exchanging gold for oil. You know, this oil is dredged in our own part of the world, but yet we have to be doing so. Well. Gunmen stop sermon and rob churchgoers in South Africa. Those are some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of Africa. Now, moving to other parts of the world as well. Now, detention as China seeks to end widespread COVID protests. The demonstrations are an unprecedented challenge to President Xi Jinping's strict zero COVID rules. But, well, it's going on. We'll see what happens. Are they going to now accuse the West once again? Well, it's the West that is planning all this unrest. Well, that's what the Iranians were saying. Well, the demonstrations seem to be going on. They seem to be quelling the efforts of the demonstrators. But what do you think? Attacks on energy grid may be genocide. Ukraine is saying the prosecutor general tells Russian attacks are aimed at the full Ukrainian nation. Well, what do you think can be done? So far, how many months now since February 24 when this war started, and it's still going on? But what do you think about that? Now, in the UK as well, 3 arrests after 2 babies' bodies were found. I'll be bringing you more on that. The Scottish football to ban heading around match days. Oh my goodness! Because that's somehow are leading that those who head ball, they head the balls, end up having dementia or having a problem of that something around those areas. But we'll bring you more on that one as well. People could save £300 in new insulation scheme. And that shouldn't have been expected to die in office hours. Most of the UK lacks consistent round the clock care for the terminally ill, research has also said. And then Colossa dinosaur heading for London display. Well, those are some of the stories making the rounds. Wow. What do you think about all that? A lot more going to be coming your way. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Enjoy this tune in full. Now this time around from Sami Okpusu. I'll try to see whether the last Friday we had information coming through whilst we were on air that Sami Okpusu has lost his life, but no further information there. But whatever it is, enjoy this song. It says gratitude. November is a month of gratitude, and I hope that you are grateful to God for what you are and where you are. But as we say on this platform, Nigeria has not happened to you, so you are doing well. What about that? Enjoy this song.
Good God. Now look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, I have some gratitude in my spirit. I have some gratitude in my spirit. Ask your neighbor, do you have some of it? Because I'm about to unleash my gratitude. Now, you know what? Once you feel it, don't allow your neighbor to stop you. Once you feel it, go in. Come on. Come on, everybody. Clap your hands like this.
This is Starr Radio UK. In your car,
work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
One more.
Let me say good morning to Adax Breaker. Hey, how are you doing, sir? I hope that you had a very nice weekend, and thank you very much for joining us as well. And as many of you who have joined us, enjoy the tune.
Everybody.
your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
Go into another dimension. Are you ready? Come on. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for loving me. And all the things you have.
All around the world.
Lord, I'm praising you.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Lord, I thank you. Lord, I praise you. Lord, I praise you. Thank you for loving me.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
Come on. Thank you for loving me.
Well, something from Samuel Kuzo. He says, "Round gratitude." The one thing that I hate in my life is people who are ungrateful. That's why every time I come on, I want to express my gratitude to you all for what you continue to do. I know when it comes to
Starr Radio UK,
those of you on the African continent, especially, I know you continue to see an arm and a leg, yet you continue to listen to us and watch us. I salute all of you, and I'm so grateful to you. But hey, let me say good morning to Tosino all the way in Moscow. Tosino, long time no here. I hope you are doing very, very well. He's our special envoy to Moscow. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. We should be having Miss Olayomi HRH getting himself ready to join us now.
Now we're gonna go into another dimension. Are you ready? Come on. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for loving me. And all the things you have. Lord, I thank you. Oh, Lord. Lord, I praise you.
It's Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, when it comes to some of the updates that is happening from Nigeria, or in Nigeria at the moment, the resumption date for the Abuja-Kaduna rail service announced by the federal government through the Ministry of Transport has been extended. Why don't they have the necessary security apparatus or means in place to make sure that travelers are protected when they embark on this journey? Well. But you know what he's saying? Well, government has not failed. Government is delivering. Government is doing very, very well. The minister explained that the federal government has introduced a new system of purchasing tickets. It is the beginning of security checks that will enable the government to ascertain who boards the train at every point in time. Do you think that can stop that? I think the other time we're having a chat and Yomo was talking to me about national identification card or something of the sort. So maybe that's what the government is looking at to use to actually battle these phenomena of attacks on these routes. But the rail service of the Abuja-Kaduna train was suspended following the attacks on the train on the 28th of March 2022 when terrorists planted explosives that derailed the train. That is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. But It's my singular honor to introduce to you the one and only, still the reigning champion, and I call him the White Lion, who is with us once again this morning. And let me say massive good morning to you, Yummy.
Well, a very good morning to you, and I hope you can hear me back in the studio.
Yes, loud and clear, loud and clear.
It is a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie, and I hope you had a very great weekend. Good morning to all the teams on Starr Radio UK, and we say welcome to all our listeners from around the globe. It is Monday, the 28th of November, 2022, as we are all, getting ready towards the end of the month, but quite a lot of Yorubas are now a little bit skepticism about whether there will be anything before the end of the year. But I can say good morning to those of us that are also Nigerians, as I was reviewing this morning, and I believe I was actually always saying that each time you are talking, and I talk before coming on air, it looks like the spirit. I was actually talking about border control, and I have the evidence because the program lasted for 2 hours. So I was looking at the meaning of borders and actually what it means in Nigeria today. And the reason for that is, before we go into some of our headline, is Sultan of Sokoto is asking the Mayati Allah to help federal government to tackle the insecurity. So what do we mean by borders? When we talk about a line separating two countries, administrative divisions or other areas. But why is it that we are concerned about the borders in Nigeria? Is because nothing more than the fact that the borders are also, and what do we mean by porous? Porous actually means that when something has a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes in Nigeria, and that is affecting the economy, is affecting an average Nigerian. And I will come back again now to you in the studio. Starr Radio UK, it is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi HRH for you. But let me acknowledge Prince Abimbola. So there he says that good morning from here, Mr. Archie and White Lion and all the crew of Starr Radio UK. Good morning to you, Prince. I hope you are doing very, very well. We thank God Nigeria has not happened to any one of us, and we are so well and kicking. But wherever you are, once again, welcome to the program. But let's go straight to the security bit, because pertaining to the federal government statement on the Kaduna, the federal capital and Kaduna route, railway route, that is still being what the federal government had last week stated that on Monday 28th of November, that's today, the Abuja Kaduna rail would have resumed, but it looks like that is not happening. Do you have any more information pertaining to that, and why?
Well, Kaduna, train attack was in March, this year, 2022, and if I remember, the engineers are going to give us, what, the former Minister of Transportation is no longer a minister because he wanted to contest for the president, but he was not given the opportunity, during the primaries of the APC, and that is no one else but the Rotimi Amechi. And if you look behind me, it actually says Kaduna train attack. I warned that lives would be lost, and literally life was lost as well. The headline you say was the federal government has suspended the resumption date of the Abuja Kaduna train services. Then the question is, if these services have not been working since March, that literally means that Nigerians have been traveling by road, which is also as dangerous as we can tell you, up to today. But what is the reason behind the resumption date for the Abuja Kaduna rail service that was announced by the federal government and the Ministry of Transportation has now been extended? Is it, some of the part that is needed? Is it still the concern of the security of that route that also took the life of innocent Nigeria? That is Dr. Chinelo. Dr. Chinelo was meant to travel out of Nigeria to Canada, where maybe she was going for more trainings or she got a new job. But what we can say is Mazu Sambo, the new Minister of Transportation, made the revelation during an inspection tour to assess the readiness of that route services before commencement of the operation. And if you look at that route, it is one of those routes that has also been talked about, like I said prior to coming onto the program, that I was telling about the borders, about the what countries around the world are saying when it comes to Nigeria. And let's take a look at what Canada says when it comes to the travel advice to Nigeria, updated 5 days ago, November 23rd, 2022 at 13:38 ET. Avoid non-essential travel to Nigeria, including the federal capital city, Abuja, due to the unpredictable security situation throughout the country and the significant risk of terrorism, crime, intercommunal clashes, and armed attack. Let's look at what the Americans says last October. America also alerted and ordered the departure of family members out of Nigeria. What is the UK saying? As an updated and valid up to tomorrow, which says the FCD no longer advise against all but essential travel to the federal capital territory in Abuja, but the risk remain. Probably maybe some of those risks is why the suspension of this track has not commenced. Starr Radio UK, I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Yes, let me acknowledge Abiodun Gaffa. Yes, a good day to you as well. We hope you are doing very well, and thank you very much for joining us. But Yomi, on this issue, my worry is that when I was going through the story, they were talking about the fact that they are now going to get something like an identification, sort of, because like here, if I get on a train or I get on any of the land, because I'm using the Oyster, it will pick up who I am and and tell you where I bought it from and all that. But that does not, actually tell whether I'm carrying something on myself or I'm planning something. So if they are saying that is what they are trying to use to secure the people, then I think that it falls flat in the face.
How do you tackle insecurity is about intelligent gathering, and that intelligent gathering must start from the community. And what is the community? Community is knowing those that lives around us. They're probably a little bit suspicious, but there's nothing to be concerned about. But as we know in Nigeria, we have also over the weekend about 33 illegal immigrants into Ogun State, from Chad, and from other, proximity of Nigeria. And when you look at, Nigeria as it is today, and we talk about the insecurity that we are experiencing, that's just a map of Nigeria. Out of those maps, we have different locations that people can easily get into Nigeria. So even if the government is able to protect, by identifying those boarding the train, how do you identify those that are also ready to attack the train, just as they did, on the 22nd of March this year? And the only way to avoid such criminality and protect lives and citizens is to also invest in the security of the route itself. It could be expensive, but I don't think the government wanted to take that option of that, and that is why the former Minister for Transportation says, after that incident, that he said to the government as at the time that life will be lost if we are not putting in all the security mechanism around it, and hereabout, life was lost on that train.
Well, listeners, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi HRH in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios. Now let's move on to the Sultan of Sokoto asking Miati Allah to help federal government tackle the insecurity. Because we're talking about insecurity. Now, how are they going to? Are they border control people? Because we know, like we're saying, the borders are so porous that you were talking about people who were arrested, some 33 illegal immigrants who were arrested in Kaduna. So you look at the fact that they can cross the borders easily. They can put on the whatever scarves or this thing, as they all do, as headsmen do, and they will be walking up and down. So what are they trying to say? That the Miati Allah can be part of the security network to actually tell who is what? Can they do that?
I went back to what Sultan of Sokoto says 4 years ago, and I have the article right in front of me. This was January 18, 2018, and the headline then was "Herdsmen killing. We have no control over any Fulani man." Sultan of Sokoto. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Sahid Abubakar III, has exonerated Miati Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria of any culpability in the recent killings of farmers in some part of the country by suspected Fulani herdsmen. So what he's actually trying to tell us 4 years ago is, the Miati Allah has no link, with the terrorist Fulani that is kidnapping, killing, and creating havoc to so many Nigerians. Let's fast forward 4 years after. He's now going back to the same Miati Allah to tell us that maybe there could be of help to the federal government. I don't know what it means by, if Mayati Allah to help the federal government to tackle the insecurity. Do we now say, but without quoting his word, let's hear what he says. The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sahid Abubakar III, as charged, is now charging. That means putting responsibility to Mayati Allah, leadership of the Mayati Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Makaban, to help the federal government tackle insecurity in the country. He was actually speaking during the inauguration of the new Makaban leadership in Abuja yesterday. Abubakar, who is also the President General of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, noted that some of the Fulani cattle breeders are peaceful people. He, however, wondered why some of their children suddenly turn into banditry and kidnapping, a situation he wants the new Makaban executive to address. What has changed if this is the same Sultan of Sokoto 4 years ago saying that the Mayati Allah has nothing to do with the kidnapping, but he's not telling us that it seems some of their children have gone into kidnapping and banditry, and we've seen that continuously up to Saturday, when an 85-year-old mother was kidnapped in Kogi State with a ransom of 10 million now being asked on her head.
Now, interestingly, with that statement that has been made, let me apologize. Oluwatoyin, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you very much for joining us. But the Mayati, my apologies, the Sultan's statement that is made, has it interested the security, the national security, to do something about it? Because all along we've been saying this menace is going on. The national security are saying, we don't know exactly where they are, blah, blah, blah. But somebody is now pinpointing directly that this are the people, and we think that they can do something about it. What has the national security said about it? Any reactions?
Well, the national security are very skeptical when it comes to somebody like Sultan of Sokoto. He is a very powerful and strong followership as well, as also, as we said there, the head of the Muslim Supreme Council. So even if they are going to say anything, they have to be very, very careful with such. Yes, Sultan of Sokoto have been talking about the insecurity in the land, just as Pastor Adeboye have been talking about it, just as the Oni of Ife talked about it after the killing of Owo, the St. Francis Methodist Church in Ondo State. But the question is, what is the security agency doing with some of the questions around intelligence gathering? Because intelligence gathering leads. I was actually reading rather, the Nigerians saying that since our SIM card has been registered, but yet we still have, kidnappers calling in with more than 10 times a day and long hours, which can be pinned down, demanding ransom. But that means that, the SIM card registration is probably working for some part of the country and not all the other part of the country.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Updates from Nigeria. Mr. Olayomi HRH in North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios. Let's move on to some of the other stories. Adeleke's inaugural speech as Osun governor. What special statement did he make there? Any assurances? What did he say?
Well, it was all jubilation for the family. Again, an uncle to Davido, because Davido also appeared for the first time after the death of his son, and that's him right there in that picture as they were getting ready for the inauguration of his uncle as the new governor of Osun State, rather. And as we know, politics in Nigeria is very, very politicized as well. We saw, all the gladiators of the PDP, including the presidential aspirant of the PDP, Eko Abubakar, on the ground. The newly sworn-in governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, made his first appointment as he named Rasheed Olawale as his chief press secretary. Adeleke also approved the appointment of Kazeem Akinleye as the chief of staff and Teslim Igbalaya as the secretary to the state government. The appointment, according to the government, take immediate effect. Two things that was also, a couple of things. Adeleke was sworn in yesterday. He has actually froze all the government's account and also reversed the state name from state of Osun to Osun State. I never knew that this was going on, because it was after this was revealed yesterday, I was trying to figure out myself that so that Osun State have never been Osun State. It has always been state of Osun, and I was told that it was the former governor, not the present one that left, but the one prior to that, Raufo Aregbesola, that actually changed the name from Osun State to State of Osun. So while he actually did that, and that's Adeleke there in his green, white, green, right there in the motorcade as he was being sworn in yesterday. So if we have been told that Osun State, and then he's now changing it back to Osun State, and the reason for that he says is because Osun State is what is in the Constitution of Nigeria and not State of Osun. The dancing senator, as it's called, accused his predecessor Gboyega Oyetola of taking some malicious actions against him, including the appointment of permanent secretary, and a lot of resignation will be going on, as we can tell. So Adeleke is now the new governor of Osun State and not State of Osun, as I never knew it was called State of Osun for a very long time.
But interestingly, whether State of Osun or Osun State, now people are thinking about their daily bread. People are thinking about their security. I mean, that's what people are thinking about. But at times I ask myself, some of our politicians, are they for real? Are they for real? What has been the reaction of the general public or people in Osun State?
It's already happening as a transporter battle to occupy Osun Park vehicle raised. You remember that the politicians use some of these transporter to get their votes, and that means that whoever is in power. Remember now, it is no longer APC that was in power; it's now PDP. So that means something like the National Road Transport Union would have to be moved now into a PDP man, so that they can because they actually control the state directly or indirectly. I mean, Lagos State, as beautiful as it will have been, I've actually given the whole transport to MC Oluomo, where he controls the transportation system. So some of the things that you've talked about is whether an average Nigeria will have what I say 4 of these. You need 4 of these every day, which is 500 naira. 4 of that gives you 2,000 naira according to the United Nations when it comes to the exchange rate. Also, Adeleke has directed the local government head to be replaced, sack chairman. So a lot of sacking is going to go on. Remember that last week we talked about the local government, and the meaning of local government is for the people and the people alone. So is he going to use his own tenure as a governor to make life meaningful to all the local government in Osun State? Time will tell. But the governor, Ademola Adeleke of Osun State, has directed career heads of the local government areas and the area council development areas in the state to take control and charge of their council from the SAC council chairman and councillor.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. I'm Janet Edeji. Massive good morning to you, and thumbs up to you as well. Thank you very much for joining in. And as many of you who have joined in as well, continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages. Those of you on the YouTube, I can see lots of you, and all the other platforms. We salute you greatly. Thank you very, very much. But let's move on to some of the other stories. NNPC petrol price without subsidy is 400 naira per litre. That's what marketers are saying. Now, when you compare it, what does it come out to? I mean, Nigeria, a crude oil producing country, and we are saying that when the prices are skyrocketing, people, I mean, I ask myself the question that, so what is the essence of we producing it at all? Because it's like your parents are cooking at home, and yet you are at home hungry. I mean, they give the food, they take the food outside. What is the point?
Well, we always have this impression that we produce. We are not producing, but we have the crude oil. So we are actually taking the natural resources of the crude oil to other countries to help us produce it, and that means that we don't have money to that would have been used to make it a little bit much better. And that means for a very long time subsidies have been part of the game. And the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited can sell premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, to marketers, assuming there is no subsidy at 400 naira per litre. It has been learned. The government have subsidized it for a very long time, and it has literally meant that some people have become so rich overnight. But the average Nigerians today, across some part of Nigeria, have experienced a kind of problem when it comes to buying the petrol that is needed on a daily basis as a small scale businessman, and as well as someone that also runs a small industry. Oil marketers who made these yesterday also gave all the reasons for continuous scarcity of the petrol, which has now led to lingering queues at filling stations nationwide. They said PMS import charges were becoming unbearable. Remember that the dollar is nowhere to be found because the country is not producing and we have less dollar. For the sole import of the commodity, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited disclosing that the NNPC had been subdued, pushing these charges to depot owners. So, and when the charges goes to the depot owners, the final consumption will go to the layman, and that means over the weekend people were paying up to 500 naira per liter for the black market.
11:26 the time. Starr Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program, and lots of stories coming from Nigeria. But now let's go to Yomi for the rest of the stories. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Once again, a very good morning to those of you that have joined us. Massive payroll fraud uncovered in the amnesty program PAR is coming, according to at least 513 persons were linked to multiple fraudulent payments. Yesterday, the Strategic Communication Committee that was set up by the Presidential Amnesty Program PAP stated that the external and internal auditors recently uncovered a massive payroll fraud in the Presidential Amnesty Program that was set up. The chairman, Nuturo, said at the news conference in Yenogwa that the discovery showed that an individual was receiving stipend for 33 people through fraudulent means. He said 513 persons were linked to multiple payments, as he says. He explained that the audit and effort of Mr. Indome to clean the payroll were reasons some beneficiaries have not received their stipend. Let's go back more to some of the other headlines, like we said earlier. First time after the death of his son, Ifeanyi, Davido appeared in Osun State, with his uncle, and a lot of reaction by those that also saw the new ring that was also in his hand, as he's also, from what we heard, got married to his wife now to be Chioma as well. So that is also generating a lot of conversation as well in Nigeria over the weekend. Safety and security concern as Ekiti Assembly impeachment saga worsened. Quite a lot of uncertainty in the southwest. Also over the weekend, we saw the Ebonyi State, where one of the INEC office was burnt down by hoodlums over the weekend. Also taking it to some of the insecurity in the country. According to one of the writers, the security agency and the Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji to intervene quickly in the Ekiti Assembly crisis to avoid what is called bloodbath over the allegation of threat to lives being made by both sides in the squabble. If the threat to lives allegation being made by the two sides that are vying for the speakership of the Ekiti State House of Assembly are anything to go by, the country's security agency and the state governor Biodun Oyebanji must now act quickly to prevent bloodshed in the state. The two gladiators, they recently impeached Mr. Boyega Aribisogun and Mrs. Olubumi Adeluba, are raising the alarm over threat to their lives and those of the lawmakers on their side as well. So it seems that Ekiti State, southwest Nigeria today, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to who is going to be the chairman of the the Senate Speaker rather. Channel your grievances through appropriate quarters. Again, Adeleke tells the NURTW, the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, has urged aggrieved leaders of the National Road Transport Union workers in the state to channel their grievances through the appropriate quarters and not take laws into their hands. This was contained in a statement issued by the Adeleke Chief Press Secretary Rashid Olawale in Oshogbo. Adeleke warned against violence among transport workers union. These transport workers are the individuals and groups of people that most of the governors from the southwest and other across are always using, to create some of the problems as well. From 3 billion monthly under Jonathan, NNPC now remits $0 to CBN. Emefiele, the governor of Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, stated over the weekend that official foreign exchange receipt from the crude oil sales in Nigeria's official reserve has become so low from 3.3 $3 billion monthly in 2014 to $0 as of today. At the 57th annual Bankers Lecture that was sponsored by the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria in Lagos over the weekend, Mr. Mefele says there was a significant loss in the foreign reserves due to the Naira struggle and the rise in demand. I even saw an headline where our presidential aircraft can be, detained, because of our unable to pay some of our debt to some of the foreign countries around the world. This is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London at exactly 11:31 a.m. I'll come back slightly to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting update from there. Quite an interesting one. But let's go straight to the elections. The election that's supposed to take place, and the fact that a whole state's INEC office has been burned down. We're talking about PVC that have been destroyed and stuff like that. So when things like that happen, what happens? Is it that they are going to now say that, okay, that particular state, they're going to postpone the elections? Because if not, some people are going to be disenfranchised, which is not right.
Yes, you're right. When we look at the situation when it comes to our running of affairs in Nigeria, it has always been one side looked, and that is the reason why a lot of things that we're seeing right now is having a big impact in Nigeria. And the only way those things can change is whether the government of the day still have the time to change things around so that it can become more better for Nigerians. It's something that is still being debated. And when you look at the forex, as we say, the reason why we are not gaining more in our reserve is because we are a consumer country. We consume a lot, and almost everything that we do in the country is consumption. And this is why Peter B says, when it comes in, it's going to turn Nigeria into a productive country where we produce, and that way we can get more forex as well. But Nigerians, as at yesterday, if I was going to send money to Nigeria, it would cost about 930 naira to a pound.
939 to a pound. Well, listen to Star Radio UK. Now today is Monday, so for sure in the southeast there will be a sit-down strike, but Adamu Gaba has said that Tinubu is somebody who will make IPOB stroke ESN to drop their rubbish. First of all, calling somebody's agitation rubbish is something that I will not agree to, because if they are not being maligned, they will not, or marginalized, they wouldn't say, or they wouldn't agitate. Now he's of the view that, well, Tinubu has been able to talk or jaw. So he put it this way: Asiwaju is the type of person that has track record of discussing with dissidents and bringing them into the formal system because they are Nigerians too. He has done that with Odua People's Congress, the OPC. So when I saw that, and they said that, well, if Tinubu should win power, he will be able to actually address, or bring the IPOB and ESN to the table to talk. Now, what is going on? Do you think Tinubu is somebody who can do that?
Tinubu promised to negotiate with the Southeast agitators. How is he going to do that is a question, but a lot of the presidential aspirants have been trying, to talk about, Chowore said almost the same thing, that he would have a roundtable discussion with the, Yoruba agitator, and likewise, the Biafras and the Middle Belt as well. The presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, has pledged to negotiate with all the agitators in the Southeast amid the Biafra agitation led by the leader of the IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Tinubu said, the negotiation with all agitators would ensure peace in the Southeast if elected in the president. The question is, how will the peace comes in, when people that are trying to be known and identified as the indigenous people as against Nigeria, which is not a crime in the first place. He made that pledge last week Thursday, during the campaign in Ebonyi State, and we saw, like I said earlier, INEC offices being burned down in Ebonyi State. So again, the uncertainty is there. That is a lot of tension, both in the Southeast. 2 weeks ago, we saw the same thing in Ogun State, where INEC office was burnt by hoodlums, and also in another state, I think Osun State as well. Tinubu insisted that negotiation was the best way for the people to get their demands and complain rather than resorting to violence. What we know is the government presently, which is also part of the government.
That's it. That's what I wanted to say. It's part of it. So why is it not seeing to that?
The present government of President Muhammadu Buhari, that Tinubu, right there to my right hand side to the far end is Tinubu there in his cap there. Next to him is the Oshiomhole, and also in the middle is the president, which is behind me. Tinubu government currently does not want to negotiate with the Biafra, does not want to negotiate with the Yorubas as well, because the letter that was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari, he refused to reply that letter. Likewise, the government presently that Tinubu also is fully involved. But what is he trying to do right now is he's trying to hold voters to his side, whether the Biafras or the Yorubas that are saying that Emilokan, if Tinubu becomes the president. And I did ask the question this morning that should any of them become the president, are we going to see all these O's that is now all over the country when it comes to our porous border? How is he going to negotiate with the Yorubas that want self-determination? How is he going to negotiate with the Afenifere that have not supported him for restructure of Nigeria, but they've rather now endorsed Peter Obi as well? So the Nigeria as it is right now has a lot of entry problems that is not just about the agitation. It's more about the agitation. It is all about the union that started some 1914 amalgamation that has now led to the question of who truly is a Nigerian as against our politicians that are not going to be here forever. They will only be here for a very, very short time, maximum another 100 years. That is if it's possible. But discussing why Lugard joined the Northern and Southern Protectorate in 1914.
Well, kudos to him, that Lord Lugard. I think he'll be turning in his grave. Bishop Adesina, good morning to you. He says that, how can we produce in the country full with unrest, unaddressed national issues that deal with constitutionalities imposed on the people and unwilling to amend them? And that is a question that we've been talking all along about, because there should be a JoJo. If the people have written to you, the people are saying, we don't want this, why don't you meet them? But Tinubu is of the view that maybe when he comes to power, he'll be able to control the northern part of the country, and maybe he will have more power and be able to negotiate. Why is he not advising the president to actually release Nnamdi Kanu, because the courts have said that he should be set free? Why is he not doing so? Maybe when he comes, you have the power to do so. Over to you, Yomi, for the rest of the stories and what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, and we're just going to touch briefly, straight on one more headline, then go straight to, the social media. UI and ASU protest AFP asks federal government to honor agreement, and we will continue to monitor that to see whether we will have this issue again of protest or the strike that has been also. Saudi-born trafficker concealed cocaine in Sanda. Quite a lot of people trying to take cocaine out of Nigerian borders, and they've been caught as well. Let's take ourselves straight into the social media this morning. Hashtag Biafra referendum is trending. Abuja, Kaduna, I believe, is also part of what we've discussed as well. But let's talk about Simon Ekpa. First I say, I am no longer calling the attention of the United Nations or anybody to the ongoing systematic genocide against Biafra, Eastern Nigeria. All I am calling for now is the attention of the wealthy Biafrans, home and abroad, to know that they are not exempted, and the time to fund our security is now. Reach out. That is coming from Simon Ekpa right there. Donald Duke is trending with about almost 11,000 tweets, and the reason for that is Tinubu have actually used the picture of Donald Duke when he was 12 in part of a documentary that have just been released, and Donald Duke had something to say about that. Let's see if we can bring that up quickly. He actually says, personally confirmed the story that Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team stole picture of him as a 12-year-old Sagilios boy, the APC candidate has now taken the picture off his website. If they had an iota of shame left, they voluntarily stepped down. So it seems that while they were preparing the, this documentary of Bola Tinubu, as the man that should be voted for, they have actually gone to use Donald Duke picture. And
who is Donald Duke, for the sake of our listeners?
Yeah, the former governor of, and I'm going to get that picture out. Donald Duke is the former governor of Cross River State at some point. And how the team of Bola Tinubu got it wrong is a question that I'm sure their boss will be wondering. And, the picture that we are discussing right now is right there. So they've gone out to use the picture of Donald Duke. That is a former governor, is a politician. He's no longer the governor, but former governor of Cross River State, as against calling him Bola Tinubu. So that has been also trending. And let me go back again slightly and look at what people are discussing. Quite a lot of people are talking about that. The First Lady is also trending this morning. And the reason why she's trending at 53,000 is someone tweeted or wrote something about her that it seems that the money of Nigeria that she's consuming is making her to become a very big woman, and the DSS is not happy with that, and they've actually gone to arrest the Twitter handle. According to Sarah, the Buhari administration must immediately unconditionally release Aminu Muhammad, a student of the Federal University who reportedly arrested over a post of tweet allegedly criticizing the First Lady. We will see in court if he is not released immediately. And a lot of Nigerians have reacted to that. And I guess we can have quickly, that image of what, the wife looks like and what she looks like presently. Quite a lot of drama in Nigeria at 11:43 before we end the. And that is, the president's wife on the left-hand side. The young boy is right there to my back, right there, as you can see. But the new face of the president's wife is the one to my right. The old one is to the left. And you can see the comparison. And Amnesty International have also intervened. Amnesty International calls for the unconditional release of the final year student Mohammed that was arrested for tweeting that the Nigerian First Lady Aisha Buhari fed fat on the masses fund. And that's the young boy face right there. A young boy. There are terrorists all over the place. The DSS cannot track them, but they were quickly able to track this young boy, and he's now been arrested.
People, like you were saying, the most important things, they will not concentrate on that. Well, the lady has put on weight, and he's saying that maybe she's enjoying too much of the state money. That's making her put on weight. What's wrong with that? I mean, if she's not, she's coming to say that maybe she's being monoposal and therefore she's putting on weight there. What's wrong with that? Interesting. Bishop Adesina says that break Nigeria and save lives. He said that is the end of it all, where people can actually criticize government if government is not doing right, or if people observe something, they can actually say it without being arrested. I mean, if it's not a threat to the state. I don't think this is anything that anybody should waste state resources to go and say we are arresting this person for. But we are also calling for the release.
So it seems that that is why Tinubu, I'll get that track ready. He actually said last week that he has run away from the social media because they just abuse so much.
all right. Listen to Starr in the UK. Let's see whether Yomi can get that song. If we can't get it, maybe tomorrow.
I'll get it ready tomorrow.
Okay. Yomi, thank you. Before you go.
Well, you don't have to touch the dial because Archie still have a lot of conversation from Africa to Europe, the World Cup. There's a lot going on. Stay tuned with Starr Radio UK. I'll be back same time tomorrow. But remember to follow us on all our social media and have a very good morning and bye from now.
Okay, thank you, Yomi. Right then, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Yeah, we're going to be enjoying some music and then we continue with the show. This around, well, the gentleman says, use the ballot box So do you think the elections in Nigeria is going to hold at all? I want you to tell me more about that. But well, let's enjoy this tune, and I'll see you in a bit. Good advice from the Zongo man, but do you think that falls, flat in the face when it comes to the Nigeria elections, when the whole state INEC office has been burned down? Well, Mr. Madeshina says terrorism is pushing people out of farm, and you are campaigning to improve farmer. How? It remains a question. I don't know how they're going to be doing that. I think they are putting the cart before the horse instead of the other way around. I don't know what they're actually doing, but well, it is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Like I said, the program will be rightly ending at 12:15. But for now, we're just going to be moving on to look at some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Well, at the moment, those of you who want to know more about the World Cup, well, Cameroon playing. Cameroon is draw 3-3 with who? Yes, my producer is telling me or that feeding me with those information. But before then, let's take this commercial break and I'll bring you the rest of the stories making the rounds. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Well, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 8 minutes to the top of the hour. And as I did say about World Cup now, Cameroon 3, Serbia 3. Well, there are some stories making the round. World Cup latest, Wales and England news conference is going to be taking place. An invisible man who is key to Brazil. Some of the stories this afternoon. In the next few minutes, I will be having the Black Stars also playing. Yes. Someone said that tumultuous match, one that will make or unmake them. And this time around playing South Korea. Do you think they're going to be doing very well? I think Morocco is done well. Morocco. Wow. What about Tunisia? What about Saudi Arabia? I mean, I'm looking at them all as countries that are not up there when we come to football. But, wow, they are all doing marvelously well. What about that? We'll be looking more into that. But let's move on to some of the other stories making the round. In Africa, 4 dead in a siege at a hotel attack by Al-Shabaab. That is in Somalia. Sporadic gunfire and explosions continued on Monday morning around the Villa Rose Hotel, a popular venue for senior government officials and parliamentarians located a few blocks from the office of the President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed. At least 4 people were killed during the siege, a Somali security official said on Monday. The terrorists are trapped in a room in the building and the security forces are about to end the operation very quickly. Now, several people are injured, including government officials. Mohammed Dahir are dead without specifying who the 4 victims were. Now, witnesses had described 2 loud explosions on Sunday evening, marking the state of Shabab attack on the hotel, which is located in the Bondir district and is normally heavily secured. Well, there are some of the stories making the rounds there. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, still moving on to some of the other stories making the round. Comoros court sentences former President Zambi to life in prison. Last Friday, I did talk about that briefly, but information coming through says that, the court in the Comoros on Monday, today, has handed down a life sentence for high treason to ex-president Ahmed Abdallah Zambi. The 64-year-old was convicted of selling passports to stateless people living in the Gulf. Now, Zambi headed the Indian Ocean archipelago between 2006 and 2011. In 2008, he passed a law allowing the sale of passports and was accused of embezzling millions of dollars under the scheme, which was since referred to as economic citizenship scandal. But Zambi's French lawyer said there is no evidence of this money, no account discovered. Zambi refused to attend the trial as his lawyers said there were no guarantees he will be judged fairly. He appeared once with his defense asking the judge to recuse himself since he had previously sat on the panel that decided to indict him. The rulings by the State Security Court, a special judicial body, cannot be appealed. The Zambia is an opponent to current President Azali Osmani. All right then. So coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, landslide has killed at least 14 people in Cameroon. A story says a landslide in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, has killed at least 14 people attending a funeral on Sunday. The victims had gathered at the top of a hill for a memorial service for 5 people when the ground collapsed under part of the audience. The search had been suspended late Sunday evening before a planned resumption on Monday morning. Marie-Claire Mendogo, 50, attended the ceremony, but her tent was not affected by the landslide. We had just started to dance when the ground collapsed, she said. Now, she said she went to dig with her hands to try to get people out from under the earth and was still covered in the brown clay from the site. The disaster took place in Yaoundé's working class district of Damas on its eastern outskirts. Now, 4 large white tents were on the hill summit at the edge of what seemed to be a ridge beyond which the ground had disappeared. People, the police pickup trucks were hauling away bodies covered by white sheets early on Sunday evening. The police cordon prevented journalists from getting closer to the scene, but we'll be telling you more as and when we receive more information from that front. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, in Libya, as well, heavy rains have caused flooding in Tripoli. Now, that's the first time of me hearing about that. But well, there are some of the happenings across the globe. Now, moving on straight to Ghana, a new Norway appeals court has dismissed appeal against Ghana in Oslo Chancery Building case. The story says, by a unanimous decision in the Oslo Court of Appeal, Norway, composed of 3 justices of appeal, Paul Morten, Andresen, Irene Son, and Rolf Torres, has in a judgment dated Tuesday, November 22, dismissed an appeal filed by Mrs. Jansbro AS, the seller of a property identified by Ghana for use as a chancery building in Oslo, Norway. The Norway Court of Appeal considered an appeal by the appellant against the judgment of the Oslo District Court in December 2021, dismissing its case of and awarding damages and procedural costs in favor of Ghana. After retrial, the Oslo Appeals Court held Ghana to be fully acquitted of all liability and concluded that a purchase agreement to which Ghana was a party could not be said to have been completed between the parties. The court awarded a sum of 1.5 million Norwegian kroner, approximately $150,000 payable by the appellant to Ghana as procedural costs incurred before the Court of Appeal. Well, there are some of the stories making the rounds there for you on Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Nigeria minister have declared Friday as a public holiday, which will be the Farmers' Day. Now, Ghana has declared Friday, December 2, as a public holiday. In a statement signed by the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, Friday has been declared a holiday to mark the annual Farmers' Day. The general public is hereby reminded that Friday, December 2, 2022, which marks Farmers' Day, is a statutory public holiday and should be observed as such throughout the country, the statement has said. Those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning on Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story before we move on from Ghana is 12 o'clock exactly, and this pertains to President Kufuor has urged the citizenry to work hard to ensure Ghana keeps the prevailing peace and security to propel economic development. The president said those two ingredients what investors look out for in a country before investing their resources, and that Ghana already had them. Now, making the country an attractive investment destination, hence the need to protect same. The President Kufuor said in a speech read for him by Ambrose Derry, the Interior Minister, who represented him at the 25th anniversary of the coronation of Togbi Adozunu Gaga Amenya Fiti V, the paramount chief of Aflao, the climax of the Godigbe Festival. The festival was on the theme 25 years of inspirational leadership and the restoration of the rights and privileges of Aflawo. Okay, the existence of peace and security are necessary prerequisites for the economic development of the country. Ghana as a country has been blessed over time to remain stable and peaceful, he said. This is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, a final story. Now, Hobson Adoya, former National Security Ministry official, has lamented the circumstances under which he recently lost his job. He states in one breath that he is unperturbed by the turn of events, but also that his contribution to the party, particularly the rise to the presidency of Nana Akufo-Addo, is well known. Speaking for the first time about the dismissal on a radio station last week, Adoya disclosed how he purportedly helped secure the Volta region from vote manipulation by way of Togolese being brought into Ghana to vote for a particular party. You can testify that I was not seated behind the fence. Well, I was in the thick of affairs, Ghana-Togo border operations. He told hosts that before adding, I did it with 4 youth organizers in the Volta region. We did it at the blind side of the regional executives. Well. Kudos to him. But he's lost his job and he is now complaining that, look, this is what I did for them and look at how they are paying me back. Well. What do you think it should be? So coming away from Starr Radio UK, 3 minutes past the top of the hour. A quick listen to a quick commercial break, and then we continue with the show. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. At the tail end of the program, in the next 11 minutes, we'll be bringing the program to a close. But wherever you are, you want to join in the conversation, feel free to do so. Call me on 02081332257 or 58 02081332257 or 58. Now, if you want to text or WhatsApp as 0753966174 0753966174. For those of you in the US, Caribbean, and Canada areas, it is 001-718-3032737. 001-718-3032737. Get in touch and let me hear from you. At Twitter, you want to tweet at us? Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right then, let's move on. Let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds before we bring the program to a close. As I said, this afternoon is happening live. In the next few moments, I'll be having Ghana playing South Korea. All right then. Now, in China, things are unraveling there. But what do you think the authorities are going to do? You know, this is a place where the authorities don't sit down for any, let me put it this way, nonsense to take place. Now, police in China have been detaining people as protests against the country's strict COVID measures spread to some of its biggest cities. The demonstrations are an unprecedented challenge to President Xi Jinping, with some calling on him to resign. Now, police in Shanghai detained several people on Monday at a site that has seen protests 2 nights in a row. A long line of blue barriers has also been placed along the road where demonstrators had gathered. As some reporters say, it's extremely concerned about the treatment of one of its journalists, that's a BBC reporter there, who was beaten and arrested by police while covering the protest. The latter has been released and later released. Over the weekend, large crowd took to the streets in the capital Beijing, while at Shanghai and other cities as anger mounted. Now, people are frustrated at Xi's zero COVID approach, which involves mass testing, quarantine, and snap lockdown. Now, protesters say lockdown rules hampered rescue efforts at a fire in the western city of Romoki that killed 10 people. Chinese authorities deny this. But how true is that? Now, most of the world used lockdown to buy time in order to develop and roll out COVID vaccines. Now, China is still dependent on strict controls. The country develop its own vaccines, but they are not as good as the mRNA technology, such as the Pfizer and Moderna shots used elsewhere, and they have not been given to enough people. Now, 2 doses of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine gives 90% protection against severe diseases or deaths versus 70% with China's Sinovac. And far too few of the elderly who are most likely to die from COVID have been immunized. Another consequences of stopping the virus in its tracks is there is a very little natural immunity from people surviving infections. All this leaves China with a massive problem. The new variant spreads far more quickly than the virus that emerged 3 years ago, and there is a constant risk of being imported from countries that are letting the virus spread. If China doesn't lock down at first sight of the virus, then it risks horrors of all the early days of the pandemic. Now, estimates from March this year suggest ending zero COVID could overwhelm hospitals and lead to around 1.5 million deaths. The choice is between being dependent on lockdowns on the long term and solving the country's immunity problem. So what do you think is the way forward for the Chinese? And the fact that people are going, what do you think can be done? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. You know, I know someone would say that, well, it's all the West trying to incite people to behave that way, but at times we tell you that's not true. Okay, gunmen stormed Ecuador's hospital in an attempt to kill a teen. Wow, the story says that police in Ecuador have arrested 7 gunmen who stormed a hospital in an attempt to kill a teen being treated there. Now, gang members took nurses hostage and exchanged fire with police before they were detained. All hostages were freed and no one was injured. The officials said the 17-year-old target of the attack, known as Dirty Face, is thought to be a rival gang member who is in intensive care recovering from bullet wounds. The gunmen held 5 staff members hostage for more than an hour, one employee told the local newspaper El Diario. Now, video circulating on social media appears to show balaclava-clad men holding guns and briefly shoving a screaming woman through one of the hospital's exit doors before dragging her back into the building. Other hospital employees at the hospital in the town of Cone in western Ecuador said they had locked themselves in a room while the gunmen broke down doors in search for the teenager. Oh my goodness, that is like a movie, isn't it? We see that in the movie, but not in real life. But that's what is happening there. So coming away from Starr Radio UK. Now, moving on to the final segment. The World Cup 2022 clashes in Brussels after Morocco beats Belgium. Now, please use water cannons and tear gas to deal with unrest. The center of Brussels on Sunday following Morocco's 2-0 World Cup win over Belgium in Qatar. Now, dozens of football fans smashed shops' windows, threw fireworks, and touched vehicles. Now, police said around 11 people have been arrested. Oh my goodness! Did they go to bet on the game, or what actually transpired? But these are all coming your way from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A very sad story from here, and that pertains to the US. A 19-year-old US woman will not be able to see her father executed after a judge upheld the Missouri law that states she is too young. Now, Kevin Johnson faces execution on Tuesday for the killing of a police officer in 2005 when he was 19. He requested that his daughter, Corey Rummy, attend the American Civil Liberties Union have filed an emergency motion on her behalf, arguing that the state law violated her constitutional rights. They said the age requirement in the Missouri law barring anyone under the age of 21 from witnessing an execution served no safety purpose. Now, Johnson, 37, has been in prison since Miss Rami was 2 years old. The pair built a bond through visits, phone calls, letters, and emails. She brought her newborn son to prison to meet his grandfather last month. Now, this person has given birth. He's now a mother. So why can't she go into wherever this execution is going to take place if she wants to be there? Or as the father is saying, I wanted to be there to see my last moment. Now, what do you think? This is all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, back here in the UK, where it's all happening live, the former Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, came third in the jungle final, having made it there against the odds. His appearance on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here had caused public outcry. The MP defended his decision to leave his constituents behind, saying he wanted to raise awareness of dyslexia and show that politicians are human beings. But has reality TV proved a path to redemption or a PR stunt? What do you think? Well, earlier on in the program, on his time in the jungle, Hancock told the other contestants that he was looking for a bit of forgiveness. Placing the Scarlett Douglas said it brought tears to her eyes, but was about the rest. But what about the rest of us who were watching at home? For many in his constituency and wider, the sight of Hancock with his reported 400,000 fee guarding around down under so soon after his action during the pandemic plainly stuck in the crew. But you see, I've always had a different view of this particular incident. You know, whatever happened there. Now, the fact that people are angry that they made the call that people should stay away, and those who lost their loved ones were not able to go in there when they in their last moment, or even to their funeral to say goodbye to them. These were times that we didn't know exactly what the COVID what virus, how it was working. It was, people were dying left, right, center. So the best way was to protect you. Now, if you were protected, and later you find out that or you were made to stay away, you then find out that we could have gone in, we could have done this, we could have done that, because we were all not in the know. Nobody knew exactly how the COVID was actually working or infecting or killing people. So I think we have to give him a break. What do you think? Well, he said that he fell in love when there pertaining to his new girlfriend, the fact that they said he was cheating, where he was caught on camera kissing, and then what do you think? Do you think we should be forgiving? Well, is it a good rap for his people, or what do you think about all that? Well, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Has he won your forgiveness? Will you forgive him, or you think that he needs to still pay for the evil that he has done? But my question and my issue is that, well, as the good book says, he who has no sin simply cast the first stone. Who can cast the stone? Let's see who will do so. But it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. We're going to be running up pretty soon. Now, 2 babies' bodies have been found and 3 people have been arrested. Where? 3 people have been arrested after bodies of 2 babies were found at a home. Now, South Wales police were called to a property in Mays Ilfeld, Wildmill, Bridge End County on Saturday evening. Now, 2 men, aged 37 and 47, and 1 woman, 29, have been arrested on suspicion of concealing the birth of a child. The leader of Bridge End Council, Howard David, called it shocking and tragic and appealed for people to remain calm and avoid speculation. The council offered help and support to residents. Now, one resident, John Mansell, said he noticed a police presence in the area on Sunday. Well, sad one. At times when things like that happen, it's because of postnatal stress and everything that had gone on or whatever that took place. But I hope that the security actually give us a bit of peace when the need arises. It is Starr Radio UK. Now I find our story, insulation. Now, have you insulated your homes? Because we're looking at the high cost of energy prices, but households could save up to £300 in new insulation scheme. The story says households could save around $310 a year through an expanded scheme to insulate Britain's droughtiest homes. The government has said now it will spend $1 billion from next spring on grants for homes that have low energy efficiency ratings and are in low council tax bands. Now, households will need to contact their energy supplier or council to see if they are participating, it said. But critics question why the funding will not be available over winter. The Department of for Business, Energy, Industry and Skills, BEIS, said households who currently did not benefit from any other government support will be able to upgrade their homes under the Eco Plus scheme. The grants will help households to fund low-cost measures such as loft and cavity wall insulation, with the average cost per household expected to be $1,500. A new 18 million public information campaign will also offer advice on how to reduce energy use in the home without sacrificing comfort. Well, so this is why I bring the program to a close for today. I promise you tomorrow I'm going to be around once again and to bring you the rest of all the story that's making the round. But once again, let me say thank you very much to each and every one of you for joining in this morning. But I will end the program with this tune from a cover version of Bob Marley's song by Avis, and it says, "Get up, stand up." You know what? Stand up for your right. When that song ends, you don't hear from me. It's been me, Archie. So you have a top of the day. But thank you very much for coping with me. I know I've not been 100%, but hey, thanks for joining us. Bye-bye for now.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Preach your man and tell me, even it's under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not gold as glitter, it's gold. I can study ya, I never been told, and now you see the light. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. You see, most people think green car will come from the sky, take away everything and make you everybody be blind. But if you know what life is for, you would love for yours and girls. Now you see the light. Stand up for your right, yeah. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Hey, I sit inside, want to kiss him, get another to the hand, want to kiss him, yeah. We know when we earn.